classified as not important of a public apology that has been demanded by Qatar and many other countries in the Gulf over the controversial remarks made by now suspended BJP leaders, saying that the people should rather pay attention to Prime Minister Modi and the RSS chief's calls for strengthening India's tradition of inclusiveness. Let me straight away go across to Mayank, who is joining us live. Good morning to you, Mayank. At this point, we are looking at multiple FIRs that has been registered against the suspended BJP leaders. There is a call that is also now being made for their arrest. Even when it comes to the Gulf countries, they are demanding an official apology.
Well, good morning, Amita. And yes, to give the extent of what those statements have created, her statement has created a furor not only in the country but across the world. And there have been, 7 states who have demanded, strong action against them, and some of the countries are also asking the Indian state to apologize for the statement made by the spokesperson of the BJP. Going back to the statement made by Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan, Amita, I would like to highlight that he has been, a vocal critique of the fundamentalists in Islam, and also at the same time he has been a staunch supporter of Indian Constitution, who goes by invoking the laws and provisions given in the Indian Constitution while making whatever points he make on any arguments and the issues pertaining to any community. That's why when he is making that statement, that whatever statement Nupur Sharma or the other spokesperson made, he is saying that those statements should not be taken on face value in global context, and rather a statement made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the issue of inclusivity and preservation of cultural heritage of the country should be taken on the face value, and that only is the official stance of the Indian state, and that's why there should any apology issued, and that those are these statements were made in the heat of the moment, that Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan is saying that those all statements were made in the heat of the moment, and that's why there is no need of apology, and that the countries who are demanding apology should look at the statements made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Mayank, please stay on with us. Mr. Ranjan, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Looking at the point of view where there are many countries who are demanding an apology, but this is a matter, do you believe, internal of India, rather not of the BJP? Why is the government of India has now to bow to the pressure of what now the other countries, especially in the Gulf, have to say?
I think first the government of India should take stern action against these two, Nupur and other person who has spoken something wrong against, which is derogatory against Paigambar. And stern action, they should be put behind the bar. And this will give a clear-cut direction to all people that they should not enter into the religious matters. They should not abuse religious people who are there in any faith, those who believe in any faith. And as far as the concern, this other countries, those who are making, yes, certainly some feelings are there. These feelings has to be, somewhere honored. And I think government of India should say, we are taking appropriate action. You should not worry.
No, absolutely. That is what the government of India has put across, because this also came across as a statement from the OIC, where there are several Islamic nations there, and in a way wanted to drag the matter to the United Nations. Do you believe that India cannot bother itself about such reactions coming in?
No, India has to take very seriously such type of things. We cannot live in isolation in today's world. And our relations with these countries are very good. In these Islamic countries recently, they have changed themselves. They have started, honoring other religions also. Very recently, our Prime Minister has gone to one of the OIC member country, and there he has seen how a temple is coming up, how a Gurdwara is coming up. They are also opening up to they are honoring other religions.
No, point taken, Mr. Ranjan. This is also happening at the time when the Vice President himself is in Qatar, and the warm reception that he has received there, but especially when it comes to matters that are internal to India and countries like Pakistan, they never change, sir. It is them who are demanding such kind of demands to put forth the reaction before the United Nations and pressurizing the OIC to make India do so. Thank you very much, Mr. Ranjan, for joining us here on the broadcast. But this is Arif Mohammad Khan, who is the governor of Kerala, saying in response to a query seeking his views on Qatar now speaking a public apology from India, saying that what India has to be careful was about protecting its own traditions, its own inclusiveness, and the larger message that has been given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, of course. aspirations that he shares with the Gulf countries. But there are certain countries who spoke against India, Mayank, on several years, whether it comes to the Kashmir issue and on other matters as well. India did not take up the matter, and it should rather not bother about such small reactions.
Well, absolutely, and that is the main point that was highlighted by, spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. Arindam Bagchi, when in the official statement he said that, that India rejected the unwarranted and one-sided statement made by the Organization of Islamic Countries. Remember, Organization of Islamic Countries hosted a conference in Pakistan on the issue of Kashmir. So they have always violated India's internal matter, and that's why when Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan, takes all those account of OIC and other these nations speaking against India on the issue of Kashmir, he has given a perspective as to India aligned on what is the official stance and what is the opinions shared by the spokesperson of a particular party. So Arif Mohammad Khan has drawn a line there that this is not the stance of the government, and that's why the Indian state should not apologize or bow down under the pressure given by any external country which is not entirely responsible and which is not making the policy of the government, which has not changed in the views of Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan as well, who is saying that the Prime Minister, as always, has maintained his views on the inclusivity of the society and preserving the cultural heritage of the country. So Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan is trying to draw the line that whatever has been said is not the statement of the government, and that's why there should not be any apology. And these nations and especially the Organization of Islamic Countries, which has always almost on all occasions in the recent past has spoken against India, especially on the issue of Kashmir, and that's why it's not important for India to give importance to all these issues and move ahead with the relationship with the countries on the issue that they are finding cooperation on.
No, absolutely, Mayank, because this is not about one political party, but a larger message that has now been given out by Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, who's leading the country. Because what the Kerala governor had to be saying in this reaction, Mr. Majid Memon, good morning, sir. The Prime Minister is repeatedly saying, as far as inclusivity of our traditions are concerned, that needs to be strengthened and nobody is to be excluded. That is the cultural heritage that needs to be strengthened, not about such comments that are being made by certain political party leaders, sir.
Well, I am told that the Honorable Governor of Kerala has put in some word of advice to the Government of India, well, that we need not take into account or consideration the comments flowing from a Muslim country, etc. I think he is overstepping. The Government of India, under the leadership of the Prime Minister and BJP, have enough leaders to appreciate the fallout of such expressions flowing from outside. In any event, I must hasten to add that we are a sovereign country and we need not be dictated. We know what is good for us and what is not. But at the same time, if a major population of India is at receiving end, since the Honorable Prime Minister has, as you rightly said, repeatedly been stressing that we want everybody to be together and we sabka saath, sabka vikas, we should remember the spirit of this slogan and then ensure that it is visible on the ground. Because now the constant attack on Muslim community, on their practices, on their customs, on their religious matters, is creating some kind of an unrest. And, the violence that has taken place in Uttar Pradesh are also a matter of concern. So we are all peaceless people and everyone should understand.
But Mr. Memon, aren't these India's internal affairs, sir? Nobody's opinion, especially of other countries, should be actually taken seriously to be even bothered with the reactions, sir. These are strictly India's internal affairs.
You are right, but you can't shut anybody's mouth. It is their choice. They may make their opinion which may not be valid for us. It is for us to ignore. It is for us to follow. It is for us to understand what is good for us. They are nobody to advise us as to what is right and what is wrong. It is for us to ignore it as well. Therefore, as I said earlier, that we are a sovereign country. We have our own authority. People of this country under the Constitution are the rulers. And therefore...
No, absolutely, sir. When it comes to the secular credential of the country, nobody can question that. And no matter how much pressure is being put on the country, where India has already formally put out a statement on the very same issue. Mr. Majid Memon, sir, thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now this morning with your opinion, and Mayank as well. Let's move on.